This is General and Nemo, and their financial situation is awful. Yeah, guys, it's pretty bad. $6,000 on the Berkeley, $2,500 on the Capital One, and $2,500 on the Chase. You guys are coming up to a little bit over $100,000 worth of debt.
Nice.
Oh my God.
Not only that, but they have absolutely nothing. No saving accounts,
Nope.
no car, no investments, no retirement, nothing.
Nope.
This situation continues to hurt the couple, leaving them to use anything they can to stay afloat. And so, in this video, guys, I will try my best to save them from the unavoidable: bankruptcy. Welcome to Finance Action, the show where we take action. My name is Romain, and today I have the pleasure to be with General and Nemo. How are you guys doing?
So thrilled to be here.
Good.
Excellent. Let's look at your profile, and I'm going to start with you, General, first. You are 33 years old. You're originally from Orange County. You live in Long Beach, and you work as a journalist. Is that right?
Yes.
Excellent. Nemo, let's look at your profile. You are 35 years old. You're also from Orange County, and given that you guys are a couple, you also live in Long Beach, California. You work in an animal rescue, but also as a musician. Is that right?
Perfect.
Excellent. Looking at the way you rated your personal finances, from chilling to Mayday, you guys rated yourself as worst than Mayday. Okay, so guys, this is going to be a pretty interesting ride because there's been quite a bit of drama going on, not between the both of you, but especially for you, General. So I want to tell me a little bit more about kind of what's going on here.
Oh yes. So I had been a successful business owner since 2014, right after I graduated, and something really awful happened with my ex. And in 2021, I came home one day and I found he had robbed me of all my stuff. And I've been trying to survive and just get by ever since.
Walk me through the tribulations, kind of what has been some of the fluctuations in your life that led you to that event and that led you to today finding yourself in a very tough financial spot.
Yeah, so I went to school at UC Berkeley, and I was originally pre-med, but I switched to journalism just because I loved telling stories so much. I did a study abroad program where I went to go study in England, where I met my ex. I met her in 2012, and one of the first things he ever said to me when he met me was, "Oh, my dad is from LA, and I always wished I could live in LA. It's so cool that you are from LA." And he moved in with me the next day. And when I went back to my school after the study abroad ended, he moved back to be in America with me a few months later, and we were together since. And we had been together for 6 years by the time we got married in 2018. And, since we met, we started our own kind of content marketing business. We called it LaSalle Works. Mm-hmm. And, for a while, that was a really successful system. We did really, really, really well together.
Nice.
And we survived, and we were making a good living. But then in 2021, Arthur started having some really serious issues, some really serious mental health issues, actually. He had really bad depression, and he lost his job. So for a few months, even though I was, a small business owner, it's not a guaranteed check, right? It's not like you're getting your check every 2 weeks. You never know when that check is going to come. And sometimes lead generation time with a client can be 60 days, 90 days between when I first talk with the client and when we see a project. So I was doing my best to support him, and I was getting sick with how stressed out I was because even though he had lost his job, he literally just stayed at home playing video games all day. That was where the level of depression he was at. So I got sick, and I paid for his rent for 3 months and all his living expenses, his phone expenses, everything you could think of. And then in the fall of 2021, I came home one day and my apartment was empty. All of the stuff of value was gone. I checked my Facebook Messenger and there was a message from Arthur, said, "I'm gone, don't look for me." And he had blocked me on on social media, blocked my phone, blocked all his family blocked me all at the same time, every single thing. I couldn't get a hold of him. He had access to my crypto account. I was locked out of my crypto account. I had money in there, changed the passwords on all my social media accounts. And when I went to go look, we had a business checking account together, LaSalle Works account. It was drained. I hadn't even realized he had been secretly squirreling a couple $100 out of it for months and months at a time.
Okay.
And I mean, just to give you an idea of like how messed up it was, like I had an Animal Crossing account. It's a game I played and I loved it. It was like my little stress relief. And I know this is probably embarrassing, but I put 700 hours into the game. And he locked me out of the account and deleted it. He didn't even play it.
So that was malintent within some of those companies in a way.
Yeah, it seemed like he was just like, I want to really hurt you any way I can. It felt like a knife.
Has there something that you had done in the past that had led to this? Or I guess it was maybe a succession of events and just maybe discontent on his side from the situation in there, or something that could have justified something like this?
I'm certainly not guiltless. I have no doubt that there were times where I could have reacted to things better, you know.
Like everyone, no one is perfect.
But what he was going through actually was he had started taking hormone replacement therapy behind my back. Even though we had been together for almost a decade, he told me the day after we were married that he was trans and he was a woman. And not only was he trans, but he had known his whole life. And when I said, we've been together for almost 10 years, why did you wait until the day after we got married to tell me? You've never even mentioned it. He said, I didn't want you to leave, so I waited until we were married.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's probably, you know, like without putting judgment on it. Yeah,
he was going through a lot in his own life that he felt like he couldn't share that with anybody. And I don't know how that stresses a person out. But all I know is he started taking hormones. I didn't know. And he really was affected by the hormones. That's why he lost his job. He couldn't deal with all of his feelings and everything just fell apart.
I see. So you find yourself opening that door in the fall of 2021 with pretty much nothing really to your account. How do you react now?
I was in a really bad place, obviously, because I tried to be as supportive as I could. And actually, that's why I don't even speak to my family anymore. My family are Muslim. And when I told them I was supporting and I didn't divorce him the day after he told me, you know, I'm trans, they said, no, like you can't do this. If you're going to continue to be in this marriage, we're not going to be in your life. And I said, well, I support my partner. Like I'm here for my partner. So I wanted my family's support after that happened, but they were not in my life. And I was really scared because he had left at the end of the month and I had to pay rent for the apartment. I had nearly, you know, no liquid cash on me. So all I could think was I have to go be near someone who cares about me. So my friends are all in Orange County and I was living in Portland, Oregon. So I had enough for a one-way ticket. I got a flight to Orange County. I was lucky enough to get a job at Disneyland. And I was actually living in motels for a couple months on my credit cards until I completely ran out.
So how did you make it happen?
It was really scary, honestly. I was living so frugally. There were days I would walk 12 miles in a day. If I needed to go anywhere, I had to walk on foot. If I needed to eat anything, I had to, you know, be really conservative. So I had nearly exhausted every credit card. And by the time that they ran out, it was a miracle that I met Nemo. I met Nemo.
Nemo, the savior here, okay.
Nemo, I met him at a party, and I wasn't expecting to date anybody, but certainly not. But as soon as I met him, he was the kindest, most caring, compassionate person. And 1 month it came to it where it was like I had exactly enough to pay my rent, but that would be it. If I paid my rent, I would have $0. I had nothing to live on. And I told Nemo, and he said, well, that's not right. Like, I don't want you to be suffering in this terrible position. Like, come live with me. I'll take care of you.
Okay, so thank you for walking us through the story, Jano. And now this is when you come into play, Nemo. So what's going on your side? So you meet Jano at what period of your life? Kind of what happens? Walk me a little bit through what's going on.
So honestly, I was a little bit in between jobs at the time. I was working as a singer for a bit, and we were taking our summer break, basically. And I met her and then could not stop thinking about her and wanting to spend time with her. So we spent almost every day together for a while, and I know I probably should have been looking for more work during that time. And during that period, I spent a lot of my savings, ended up using a lot of my credit card, just wanting to spend time with her and, not looking for work and stuff. Because for a while I was doing like freelance musician gigs and stuff, so that takes a lot of time to find and to get ready for. And I kind of was just maybe a little love drunk and
Honeymoon vibe.
And since then, I've put on a lot of credit card debt, exhausted most of my savings, and just getting by now.
Getting by now, okay. And so that brings you, how long have you guys been together now?
About 2 years.
Yeah, almost
2 years. And so that brings you guys to the situation when you find yourself as Mayday. So I will see this lovely couple here as one unit when we think about kind of your financial situation. But today, that was 2 years ago. Today, what's going on?
So I had my last big client in August of last year.
Because you're doing free-time journalism pretty much?
Yeah, I do journalism and content marketing. So I find a lot of clients that need any kind of written content, and I create their content, their brand voice, their social media, their websites. So my last client I had in August of last year, and they paid, $25,000 for a very big project we were working on.
A brief update, guys, to speak to you, the entrepreneur at heart, someone that maybe wants to start a side hustle or a small business and you don't really know which business banking partner to use. My personal recommendation is Relay, and they're a sponsor of today's video. Relay has a very unique approach as they allow you to build up to 20 checking accounts per business. And this allows you to pretty much segment your expenses using a profit-first methodology. So think about allocating money for taxes, owner's compensations, payroll, and they allow you to make it ultra easy as you think about working with a team, scaling, or even managing your finance with additional platforms. Think like QuickBooks, which is also personally my favorite. Not only that, but they have no fees, no minimum balances. It's pretty much the go-to when it comes to my small business finances. If you're in this mindset and you want to get started, I encourage you to check out the link in the description below. Thank you so much, Relay, for being a partner on the channel. And now let's get back to our content.
While I was doing this, I've also published 2 books in the last 2 years. So I kind of switched over a little bit. When that stuff with happened, I was so messed up and depressed. And, a lot of us kind of like only grind through our job because we have to. But I reached a tipping point where I was like, I want to write books. That's what I wanted to do when I was a little kid. So I'm going to switch. So I published 2 books in the last 2 years. And I had that client that I was doing at the same time. So I was doing content marketing and also writing books. But at a certain point, I couldn't do both at the same time. And so when that last client when I finished the project for the last client, I wrapped up to promote and finish my book.
Okay.
And so the book was just launched in May, but I have exhausted every last penny of that client's money.
I see. So today you find yourself with not much in front of you.
Yeah.
And on your side, you have a full-time job, but you've stacked up, as you mentioned, kind of on credit card debts that you haven't been able to cut up to. Isn't that right?
Pretty much.
We'll find a solution. Again, there is a lot here. We might go into areas that we haven't really spoken into on the show, so we'll see about that. Let's now dive into the specific of your financial situation today, your income and your assets. Looking at the income that you guys are making today, journal first. So freelance journalist, but been working recently mostly in promoting some of the publishing that you've done. It has worked great, so not too good.
So I just published the book in May, and I won't be receiving any royalties for 90 days. So I actually don't know if I've...
Oh, you don't even know performance?
No, I don't. Because each company has 60 days to report their sales. So apparently that's how it works. I won't know till next month the total sales of what I've made. And that'll be just for the month of May. When it launched, I'm not expecting to have a lot of sales.
Okay, so today per month, how have you been living off?
I've been living off of the savings from that client.
Okay, so living off the savings, so pretty much almost zero per month.
Yeah, basically.
Having to rely on Nemo.
Yes.
Nemo, what do you do for a living?
I work at an animal rescue center. We handle exotic animals, and I also work with kids there.
Yeah, very nice.
Looking for music gigs and stuff on the side when I can.
How much does that provide you per month or so?
About 3,500 to 4,000.
3,500 to 4,000. Okay, so we're gonna bring it at that's net, right? After tax. 3,550 using California's taxation. You're doing pretty much around $65,000 per year. Okay, looking at how does that compare against the median in the United States? So 50% make more, 50% make less. For the age bracket between 35 and 44, so you're just below that. If we average for both of you, it's about 61,000. So you are a little bit above. But now again, guys, we are speaking as both of you. But I know there is some positive news potentially coming through on your side. Give me the little bit of a...
So the one silver lining about this very awful situation with my ex is... I have not heard from him since he left. I genuinely have no idea where he is. And so there's this cool thing you can do where it's called divorce by posting, where if your spouse leaves for a pack of smokes and never comes home, you can tell a judge that that happened and you show them proof that you've tried to contact this person. And once you do that and sufficiently show that you don't know where they are, you can have a sheriff serve your divorce papers to a courthouse, and a person has 90 days to respond. During this time, you ask the judge for what you feel is a fair amount, in the divorce proceedings. And if the respondent doesn't respond in 90 days, you get a default judgment.
How much are you asking?
$100,000.
What was the thought behind this estimation?
The thought behind the estimation is the amount of debt I owe was certainly considered very heavily, and the amount of income that was stolen from me is moreover the amount of months of income that not only where I was paying for his rent, but the loss of my crypto accounts and, all of the assets, the credit card debt I had to accumulate, everything basically that he caused.
What is the probability of chance? Because yes, there can be judgments, but then also reality of you being able to recoup some form of that money.
See, that's what I really don't know. The only thing I know at the moment is he's continuing to file for taxes as a married person.
So you have eyes on that. You can see
my
that.
Accountant told me that I received notice that this person has filed still as married filing separately, but granted, they're filing as married, so they have income. So if a judge issues a default judgment and you have income, you can have the government lien his assets, including his paychecks and his car. Yes, garnish his wages. So I don't know what the odds are of collecting on it, but I know that is an option.
And since he left, you have absolutely zero.
Nope, nothing.
None.
I have not even tried to look at any of his social media, haven't heard from him, nothing.
All right, so that could be potentially some form of income
relief.
But also, you also have something that happened last week. Tell me a little bit about that.
So I might be getting a new job in the hospitality industry as a server.
Okay.
I just had a job interview and I was told I got hired. The woman said that she was going out for a week, so I should hear from her tomorrow. But it's a very nice restaurant. It's on the waterfront.
Wow.
Yeah, and she
How
told me.
much? How much would you be making?
I don't know, but she told me like our waiters clean house like 200, 250 in tips on good days. So
Each?
yeah. So in theory, we might be in a good position very soon.
Okay, when would you be starting that?
Well, she told me she was hoping to get me in by tomorrow, but she had to go away for a week. So I'm going to follow up with her tomorrow, but it's probably not starting tomorrow. So maybe in a week or two.
But she said you're hired.
Yes, she did.
How many days a week would you be working?
I think she was looking probably for 3 or 4 days a week.
Okay.
You know, despite all the qualifications I've had and all the success I've had, it's been really hard to find a job since my last client, and I've really been struggling.
Interesting that you're bringing this. In fact, a product that I've enjoyed myself that potentially you guys may want to look at is called Course Career. And this is a company that I've looked into that you guys also have a link in the description that I've tested myself that allows you to, get the professional learning online for a set of positions that are in high demand and they place you within as well.
Oh, wow.
It's a pretty good and affordable courses. I do enjoy their product and I encourage you guys to check them as well. But coming back to this story now, outside of kind of those both streams of income, we're not expecting anything else at this time, right?
Not anything major.
So now that we know a little bit about your income, let's dive into what you have. So I'm going to start you, Janelle, first. What do you have?
I have $160 in my bank account, and that is it.
That's it.
That's it.
No saving accounts?
Nope.
No car, no investments, no retirement, nothing.
Nope.
How do you feel about it today?
It makes me very, very, very anxious and afraid. Yeah, I'm scared.
Okay. We'll see how we can bring that back together. Nemo, what do you have?
I have about $500 in my checking account, and my car's paid off.
Oh, okay. So that's something. Okay, what do you drive?
I drive a 2017 Jeep Compass.
How many miles?
About 55,000.
And you bought that pretty much 100% ownership, no loan, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That car is valued at $12,700. Any other income? I'm sorry, any other assets? No retirement, nothing on your side. No investment, savings, nothing?
I have a little bit of retirement, but...
Oh, okay. How much do you have?
A few thousand.
Do you know how much? Is it a 401k?
401k.
Okay, but you don't know exactly the amount?
I haven't checked it in a while.
Okay, so for situations like this, guys, again, shameless plug, but because I love those companies, I've utilized them myself for my retirement, and I've had people on this show that I've used as well. It's called Capitalize, and what they do is really nice, is they're going to look at your person for free, and they're going to see what type of retirement accounts do you have. So if you had one that's forgotten at a company, or if you have one like, oh, I forgot the password or any of that, what they do is they look at your identity, it's very safe, and they search for it, and they allow you the opportunity to transfer them to brokerage. But it's a very nice, fluid process. It doesn't cost anything for the individuals, and I really enjoy myself. I use them for my most recent company, transferring out my 401k, roll over to a Roth, and it had worked out pretty well. Again, guys, link in the description, but this is actually a really good one as well that I recommend.
Cool.
I like that price.
Yeah, $3.99.
My favorite.
Excellent. Okay. So together right now, as of today, that brings your total assets as a couple at 13,360. But if we look at liquid cash, 660. So we would want for sure, guys, to raise that a little bit, especially as we transition into our next segment, which looks at your expenses and your debt. Okay, so we are gonna start this section, with a nice and kind of fluid one. How much do you guys pay for rent in Long Beach, California?
About $2,000 a month.
Does that include utilities?
Nope.
How much is utilities?
About $150 a month.
$150
on average.
Okay. And you guys live together.
Mm-hmm.
That brings your current housing expenses against your income, again, your income joined, at 57%. We like it to be below 28%. So we are a little bit steep. But again, California is not a cheap place. You're not balling on $5,000 plus apartment, but still, $2,150.
It's for 1 bedroom.
How much do you guys spend as a couple for phone?
Like 160. Yeah.
Okay. Looking at your transportation expense. So you guys only have one car. You don't pay for any car payments. That's good to hear. How much do you pay on gas?
About 200 a month.
200. And in terms of insurance?
Around 100.
100. Okay. That brings your transportation expenses against your income at 8%. We like it to be below 15. Congratulations! That's positive on you guys' side. But that's again because you own your car outright. If you had a debt on it, then it would be a little bit tougher. Okay. All right. Now that we've looked into some of the basics, I'm going to dive into a little bit the specifics.
Okay.
Janelle, I'm going to start with you. You guys, brace up as this is going to be interesting. So, okay. Here on your application, you're showing me a student loan of $65,000.
Yep.
I'm glad to see that it's federal, but I don't see any payment on it.
That's correct.
Have you spoke with the government to see how they can potentially reduce or post? None of that? You haven't taken action?
I have not, no.
You also see that you have some taxes.
Yeah.
About $5,000 of those. Some of those are dating 2 years, so it's not even 2023, it's 2022 as well.
Yeah.
This is, when we think about taxes and government, that's not a good equation. We need to take care of that.
It's not someone I want to owe money to.
That's not someone you want to owe money to. If there's one guy,
Yeah.
it's the IRS.
They
you
know. I've told them the financial situation. They've put a deferment on for now. I don't have to pay that currently, but as soon as I get
Okay.
any income, I'm expected to start making payments.
Excellent. Okay. Now, we also are still suffering a little bit from some of the credit card debt that you accrued during your kind of recovery
Yeah.
period to the amount of $6,000 on the Berkeley, $2,500 on the Capital One, and $2,500 on the Chase. About
Yep.
$11,000 of cards that are in collection.
Yes.
How long has it been?
It's been about a year.
Okay. Have they reached out to you?
Yes. Extensively.
And what do you do?
I don't open the letters.
Do you answer the phone?
No.
Okay. Don't answer the phone for now. All right.
It made me too sad.
Yes. So, okay, guys, I'm here not on the side of the banks. I'm here neutral, trying to find help.
Yeah.
So when you're in that situation and you don't have the money, I wouldn't open the phone. I would just
Yeah.
don't make you feel like you're alive, okay? Now, this is going to be controversial. Be like, oh, it's all, I don't care. I'm here to save them, okay? So just don't answer to anything. Don't make yourself alive. All right? For now. Okay, 1 year is pretty young. It's pretty recent. What is your credit score today?
Probably under 500.
I see, though, that you also have another form of debt. A car repo
Yeah.
on a Hyundai Elantra to the amount of $8,000.
Yes.
When did they repo the car?
Actually, very recently, a couple weeks ago.
Okay. Is that the money that you own on top of the repo?
Yeah.
Sure. So what happens generally when they repossess a car is they see your balance and they say, oh, maybe the car is worth $10,000 because they put it on auction. Okay, and dealers get those from auctions. But the loan is $18,000.
Yeah.
So you were probably quite underwater from that car, no matter the value. They need to bridge that gap somehow. So then this becomes debt to you. Did you buy that car new?
No.
When did you buy that?
It was just when I met you, right before I'd run out of the money. So maybe summer of 2 years ago.
And at the time, you had a pretty good credit. Everything was good.
Yeah, no. I mean, I had good credit for a long time. I never missed a payment on my credit card right until the very, very end.
So you had at some point in your life a really good, you had savings, you had investments, a good credit score.
I had
you
a
had
business,
it.
yeah, I had a business, credit score, car, everything.
Wow. Interesting how a story can flip.
Oh, yeah.
Oof, okay. And I also see that you have a little bit of medical debt.
Yeah. All of these events really took a toll on me and my health. And I've got about maybe $5,000 in medical debt right now.
$5,000 medical debts. Okay. Any other form of debts that you have, like money that you own, individuals, personal loans, payday. I hope not payday, guys. If you have, please never. That's the last thing.
Nothing other than, what I owe Nemo, which I'm not able to make the rent currently for this month. So hopefully I won't owe that. Hopefully I figure something out, get hired at that waitressing job very soon.
But that's the only money you owe Nemo at this time.
Yep.
Okay. So that brings your current total debt at $84,000.
Oh boy.
Okay. So we take that, we don't judge, and we'll see how we can kind of save you from the Titanic a little bit, okay? But no, don't worry, there are solutions that exist. We'll be discussing about this. Nemo, you're finding yourself as well not in the greatest spot. Mm-hmm. Walk me a little bit through what type of debt do you have?
Mostly credit card debt.
How much?
About 15 to 16,000, but I recently reconsolidated it. And
what's your interest rate on those right now?
Not great.
Oh, so you consolidated, but you didn't get the consolidation at 0%.
I'm working with a what's it called? One of the ones that credit closes card for me, and then so that's the only thing I was approved for when I was.
I know exactly what this is. So they didn't pay those cards on your behalf, did they?
No, they're waiting until the collections come to them.
Exactly.
And then they say, this is how much that we think.
And right now they're asking you for monthly payments, though. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is an interesting topic. I want to briefly walk you through what's the mechanism behind it. Okay? It really depends on the person. Credit card consolidation companies, you could say, what they do is they're waiting for your cards to go into collection. Okay? They let the time fly. And what's going to happen is they're going to be a negotiator on your behalf with those collectors. In the meantime, they are going to accumulate some money from you so that they are going to come at some point to the collector and say, hey, we have $5,000 that you've paid, right, over time, over the years, to pay for those credit cards. Can you take that? And that credit card consolidation company, they take a fee. They take a fee, which the fee for the service. So do I think this is a good idea? Well, it depends. If you have the strength to do yourself, to save every month yourself and not tap into that, then you can do that negotiation with them on your own and you don't have to pay for that fee. But if you know that you can't save that money and you're going to have to spend it, it's good to go through them because it's a forcing mechanism. They're forcing you and they're setting an amount that they expect they're going to be able to deal with. So how much is your monthly payment on that?
It's about $310.
Okay. Did they tell you a timeline on when they would proceed with the payment?
48 months.
4 years.
I did not know that.
Yeah, you see, if it's 48 months, the total amount of debt that you're going to be paying on it is $15,800 or so. But what's happening is you're not going to pay interest pretty much because the interest, you see what I mean now? Right? Any other form of debt?
Yeah, I have paid for Airbnb, used, I think, like Klarna or...
Yes, some kind of those pay later options. How much do you own on that?
$400 or $500.
$400-$500. Okay, so together, guys, as a couple today, you guys are coming up to a little bit over $100,000 worth of debt.
Nice.
Oh my God.
660 on the accounts. The ratio is a little bit tough. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. How do you feel about this right now on your side of the equator, Nemo?
I am so stressed out.
Oh, you feel yeah?
I am stressed. Yeah. I'm trying to hang in there and be brave about it, but I'm definitely a little worried and
Okay. What is your credit score?
My credit score is around 400 now. After the credit cards have gone to collections.
Yep.
Before I was over 600, but
yeah, because you were maintaining minimum payments.
Yep, and then after they've gone to collections.
Yeah, that's what happens. They pretty much ask you to let them rot until they come into play. Okay, no student loans, none of that.
Nope, not for me.
So, transitioning a little bit outside of the debt situation for both of you guys, if I look at your expenses for the most part, I'm glad to see that you guys are pretty frugal. I don't see Starbucks, I don't see any DoorDash or any of that BS. I see a little bit of drinks to the amount of about $50 a month.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you know, groceries and so on, nothing too crazy. I see that you have a little bit of pet expenses. What type of pet do you guys have?
We have 2 snakes that Nemo has rescued from his work.
The expense isn't too bad, though.
No? Okay. Okay, that's pretty fair. So for the rest of your expenses, you guys are pretty much in a survival mode right now. I don't see anything that really skyrockets, no really outliers. So I'm glad to see that at least you're not continuing to, you're continuing to stack on debts, but not in a bad way, in a way just to kind of get by, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now that we know a little bit more about your situation, let's move on to our next segment, which looks at the money case. Okay, now let's transition into the favorite segment on the show for many, which is the money case. And I'm going to be speaking primarily to you, Janelle, because you are the one that is in the toughest spot today. And I'm also going to actually be speaking kind of to the couple because, again, as I mentioned previously, I see you guys as one unit. You guys are going to have to work together on this. But you will see there's a little bit of individuality. You will see how I bring that for fairness, yeah, because you don't have to carry everything that, you know, Janet has been through and vice versa, right? It needs to be fair.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I need you guys to do right now. ASAP. As a couple, I need you guys to come up with $2,500 as fast as humanly possible. And you're going to tell me, Romain, what the heck? What
Yes.
does $2,500 come into play? So you, Janelle, you're going to have to press reset. And how do you press reset? Is you have to file for bankruptcy. You have to.
Okay.
So what does this mean? Number one, bankruptcy, I've had the chance not to go through it myself, but I've helped people kind of understand what's going on. You really have two, but I'm going to focus on you on what is called as Chapter 7. This is something that's very unique to the United States that many people have seen on those shares, have taken advantage of, and have actually succeeded from it, okay? It's the ultimate reset, okay? What's going to happen is for you to be able to go ahead with bankruptcy, you need to go through a lawyer. You need to go through a lawyer.
Oh.
And a lawyer is going to cost you, it's a bankruptcy lawyer, between $2,000 and $5,000. $5,000 is generally in California. But I don't want you guys to really have to go through all of that. Generally, you can negotiate depending on your situation. But on average, it's about $2,000 to $2,500. I need you guys, as fast as humanly possible, to get to that. So you're gonna request an application. They're gonna look into your past, everything that has been going through, where are your accounts and so on. There's going to be an investigation. You're gonna come into court and so on, but you're gonna be kind of taught by the bankruptcy lawyer about what to say, etc. It's a full process. It's an experience. What's nice about it is that once they investigate the type of loans that you have, and if they qualify as unsecured loan, they're gonna be washed. What does that mean? It means that your credit card collections, bye. Your car reposition, bye. Medical debt, bye. Okay? Your taxes, if it
Not
is...
buy.
It depends. There is a set of rules. Is it income tax that you own?
Yeah.
Okay. So if there is a timing aspect. So we're going to have to think together when I speak quickly about the recommendation. There's going to be a whole timing about it. Because once you pass a certain count of days, when your tax have been due or the filing days, there are 3 sets. It's either 3 years, 2 years, or 240 days. I think for years it's going to be applied to 240 days. Once you pass a certain amount of days, taxes, if there are income tax, not all type of taxes do qualify, but you could very well qualify for them to be washed out in a bankruptcy. And I have a cherry on top of that for you. Depending on an investigation that will take place, you can potentially, it's not guaranteed success, apply for something that is referred to as undue hardship, which is a specific application during the filing of the bankruptcy that could wash out your federal loans.
Oh my God.
So what you're going to do, and I want to speak very briefly about that student loan. It is not guaranteed. Generally, anything, alimony, child support, student loans, generally they don't bypass Chapter 7. But on your case, given your financial situation, what you need to do is you're going to have to find what is called as an adversary proceeding. That is, you're going to have to speak with your lawyer about that. And that's going to start a set of tests it's called the Brunner test again. And you will see how that works. But depending on your financial situation, and to me, it seems that you apply. Again, I can't put my word for it.
Sure.
But mathematically, it seems that you would be able to benefit from this, maybe a portion or potentially to the total amount. And by having this reset, what we can guarantee more or less for the most part is at least, given your situation right now, during the bankruptcy, you would wash away $24,000. And that is, again, your car, credit card, tax, medical debt. Okay? So you could very well completely reset your life. Now, what's going to be the downfall events of that? A bankruptcy will stick on your credit score for a pretty long period of time.
Yeah.
So that's when Nemo comes into play. You guys are going to be able to kind of fit on Nemo. I'm going to say how, that without impacting yourself, but you will see how we're going to leverage. Because when we think about personal finance, it's a game. You have to play the game, but you have to understand the rules. Okay, and right now I'm going to say how we would play the game if I was in your shoes. But again, with maintaining fairness in the couple. If you like this type of content, we invite you to like and subscribe, as this helps this channel tremendously. Thank you. This is what I would do again if I was in your shoes, step by step. Let's do that. Right now, per month, to live as a couple, you guys need $3,940. That is 104% of your income. So right now, and that is assuming your minimum payment on your credit card consolidation, okay? You're losing money every month. So forget about your wants. In the short term, guys, right now, you guys can be the greatest turnover that happened in years. Jokes apart, you guys have to tighten the belt like no tomorrow and live very frugal. What's going to happen is you get to 2,500 as soon as possible. And I want it to be you, okay?
Yes.
Nemo is going to have to continue on his route for now, okay? Because I need you to do anything you can. You need to find employment to get to that money so that you can start your process. I want you to work with your bankruptcy lawyer and your current lawyer that is taking care of all of the divorce and understand if there is a timing component around that. Because you don't want to hurt yourself on the position that you have with your ex-husband because you're filing for bankruptcy. So look at the timing. I don't have the answer. Lawyers will. But it's going to take you a little bit of time to get to that 2,500. Nemo, I need you in the short term to assume the expenses of the household. I know that. Just for 2 to 3 months. You need to go. What's going to happen from it is once the bankruptcy process kicks in, you guys are going to need together to save $3,000 and you get the hell out of Los Angeles. You get the hell out of California. The cost of living in Las Vegas is 42% cheaper than in California.
That's a lot.
Oh my.
Okay?
Wow.
On top of that, much lower tax brackets. And when we think about positions for you, Janelle, Las Vegas has the most probably concentration of typical industry type of positions. You're going to have in Las Vegas the opportunity to hit some salary pretty good because Las Vegas for you can have this hustle mentality. So you're going to get that job. Now, on your side, you're going to pay back Nemo.
Hell yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we need, because if the couple is strong and sharp, this is how you play it. You guys are going to have to use each of the other's cards. So Nemo carry here a little bit, but then you trump back because you're going to be debt-free. Nemo is still going to be waiving with the 16 credit card debt. So now that's where, but Nemo, I don't want you to file for bankruptcy. No. Because you're in a good program right now. You're not sunk. You just need to pay those 330. That's fine. But then you guys are going to play the game. So Nemo kicks in, and then once you're in the process, because the bankruptcy takes a couple months, okay? You come in. But now you guys are going to have a much lower cost of living. You're going to maintain one car, okay? We live on a tight belt. Right now, we need to really rock it. When you said about like jobs and so on, you take whatever it takes to make it. As timing is of the essence now. You guys need to make it. Once that process is in place, you're going to be debt-free. Maybe you might have a little bit of student loans, but you're going to work with the government to put yourself on a payment program that's going to take you 15 years to pay. Who cares? Okay? But you're going to maybe have to pay them. But having student loans that are federal, usually you can manage. The federal government the government is really flexible with you. So you're going to make it. Okay? You're going to have to stay cash heavy. Okay? So I want you guys to start building an emergency fund for you and for you. Okay? So hopefully when you come back into play, you pay over Nemo. Now you guys are balanced, and you guys are going to work as a couple to build, couple finances. Generally, what I like to use is what is referred to as a ratio. Okay, so if you make $100,000, just here random, and you make 50, okay, you're going to pay twice as much on what you guys are as a couple expenses, so that the impact of those expenses hit the couple fairly, okay? On top of that, I want you guys to open, now that you guys are rebuilding your credit score, a card called Fees. I really like them. It's a debit card that reports your payments to credit bureau without having you overspending. No fees, no interest, no credit card check. You guys are going to benefit from that, no problem, okay? That's a good way to build your credit without paying anything. And using your debit card. Forget about the credit cards. It's gone. It's gone for years. Oh, yeah. I need you guys to build back foundations. Emergency fund, retirement. You guys are going to be in a very advantageous area to live, lower tax, good work environment, rock and roll. I need you to put your copywriting and so on break for now. We need to satisfy basic foundations. And then, once you establish, maybe a little bit of music for Side Hustle. Maybe a little bit. But I'm not saying that those professions are under. No. We need security. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for security, we need to get the hell out and grind that as fast as humanly possible. Your book, I respect it. No problem. It's not the right time. Yeah. You could very well find yourself in a matter of 2 to 3 years in a very sweet spot. Same to you. Where we can now think about investments. We can now think potentially, guys, about a family or something. Now the story changes. But today, none of that is possible. On either side, huh? I mean, you're in a good spot. Yes and no. You have a lot of debt to tackle, but it's not too bad. You have a reset. Again, if the couple is strong, the couple can make it work. You guys can go back through that. No problem. That's one of the greatest options that exist. And I rarely recommend it because I'm always trying to find other ways. But for you, I think this is the way to go. It's grind time. And, you're past.
I'm ready to grind.
You're past, you lived. You're with definitely
and keep grinding.
a keeper. And sometimes that's just a walk of life. It's walk of life. And that's what a couple is. It's not always sunshine and rainbows. But you guys can have it, and you guys can have it good. But let's play the game now. It's time to play. What are we thinking?
You've made me feel hope for the first time in a really long time, and I'm willing to do anything and grind as hard as it takes to get there.
Excellent. Okay. How do you feel, Nemo?
We can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay. I call you back in a couple of weeks. I want to know what's going on. Good luck with your job. Any final words as we wrap up our discussion?
I'm so grateful to you. I can't even begin to put into words, and I'm a writer. I'm supposed to be able, but I can't. I'm really excited. This is a beautiful new dream.
Excellent. What about you, Nemo?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoy this story. Definitely interesting walks of life. We invite you to check out the resources below that I use, and we see you guys in the next video. À bientôt.